Hello there, my name is Optimus Prime, and welcome to another exciting episode of Transformers 84 to 24, 40 years of rolling out. Now, we are deep into 2008, and we had our other episode earlier in the week, possibly yesterday, where we talked about what was going on in 2008, but today we are going to talk about toys. 2007 was ridiculous. There were so many toys, and 2008 is slightly fewer toys. And the only man who I'd possibly like to talk about these wonderful, wonderful toys with is Primetime Moth. Hi, Moth.
Hey, hello, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Now,
It's funny
I
because I
just,
think we talk about 2007, it's like six crap tons. This one was only five crap tons.
yeah,
Still got
exactly.
crap, lots of crap tons, but it's just in comparison to the crazy year at 2007, 2008 doesn't feel as bad. But you compare it to like a 2000 or a 1995, you're like, oh my goodness, this is incredible. It's just in comparison to 2008, it's like, oh, that's an easy week.
Yeah, it does seem less, but it's not much. Um, so yeah, there are fewer lines this year, but there are also new things introduced, continuations of lines. We've now got, I think, five or six like lines that have been continuing on from year to year,
Yeah.
which is getting an incredible amount. I mean, back in not that long ago, there was only one or two a year, and now
Yeah.
we're getting just a glut. But it does lead to a slight problem, which I will discuss in a minute. But I'm going to make the magic share go, and then we will discuss. Oh, magic. Okay, so I'm going to start with one of the sublines, which is Transformers crossovers, which is still going after what, 4 or 5 years. And this is a good example of exactly what I wanted to talk about. And that is Repaint City. This year, we're going to go through lots of different lines, and it is so much repaint, so much repaint. But we'll talk about that a little bit more as we get to them. I don't actually think there's an original mold in this. No, maybe the V19 Torrent. But other than that, Slave One, both
Yeah, they're
Slave
all
Ones are repaints.
reissues, views. Yeah.
Grieve, it's yeah. I think maybe the Grievous ship. I can't remember if that was there previously, and maybe the Ark.
No, I
No,
think
the
General
Ark
Grievous
was
was
there
there because
before.
that made me curious. I definitely was like, oh, so I'm sure that has been there before. So I think you're right. But I think the V19. I think that's the only one.
Yeah,
I think you're right.
but yeah, and a black Emperor Palpatine Imperial shuttle. I mean, why? Can black's cool and it sells more? Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to move swiftly on from that to a new line,
Ooh.
which is still crossovers, but Marvel crossovers.
Oh man, these are awful.
Yes. Did you say awesome or awful?
Awful.
Okay, good, because they're awful.
I never owned one because I just couldn't connect them. I was just like, nope, nope,
No,
nope.
yeah, this is a line that I drew the line on, apparently. Again, look at those. They're all pretty much repaints of each other, apart from there's three, four molds there, maybe?
Mm.
Not that many. Um, the Hulk one is kind of cool in that it's got a kind of cool alt mode, but the rest of them, oh, the Iron Man one's just no, they're all awful. I accidentally owned the Venom one once. I bought it in a lot of other things. I wondered what it was, and then I was like, "Oh, this is awful." Yeah. So moving swiftly, no, not moving swiftly on. I've got one more thing to say about this. It should be amazing. It should be something that should have some really amazing original ideas and some really cool characters and could be a fantastic line. I mean, Iron Man alone, you should be able to make some
Yeah, Iron
really
Man.
fantastic toys out of, and War Machine and stuff like that. Yeah, some of the others it's a bit weird that they transform into. Why is Wolverine turn into like an off-road Jeep? That's very Wolverine, I
Yeah.
suppose. And
But I
yeah,
think the interesting bit for crossovers, if you'll indulge me, is I think when the crossover's done right, as in like pick a mode that you're going to go. I'm going to be slavishly try and make it look perfect. So like
Mm.
Boba Fett Slave One, transform the Star Wars one. Slave One ship looks beautiful.
Oh, amazing.
It's a janky robot. It's not
Oh, it's
great, and
awful.
but then you throw in the kind of more recent stuff, your Ectotrons, your Gigawatts. I don't really care about the how the robot ones are not bad. They kind of also look like G1 stuff, which I thought was brilliant because it's like we're
Mm.
going to try and be a bit, retro because this is what it's meant to be. But the alt modes are beautiful and they're
Mm.
packaged really well. So,
Mm.
package me in a G1 box, give me a beautiful 80s car, the kit ones just on the horizon. I'm into that.
Mm.
But these were just
Yeah.
they didn't do either well. They
Nope.
didn't, and as soon as you do that, you're screwed. We talked about the Star Wars ones. Only had for I've owned, and every one I owned was because I wanted to see that one. The Slave One because it's Slave One, the Death Star because it's Death Star. These I had no interest in because neither bit of it just appealed to me, and that's
Yeah.
the you have to at least land one of the modes as being really reminiscent of something, and these just aren't. They're just painted versions of mechs.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to move on because they
Good.
upset me. Robot Heroes. Now, last week I think I forgot to put the 2007 movie Robot Heroes in, but that's fine because there's a million of them. So there's more Robot Heroes, a load more two packs, a load more characters come along that
Yeah.
just they introduce all the Beast Wars stuff. They might have had some Beast Wars before, but this looks like all of the Beast Wars. Um, and the Universe series, Universe becomes a bit more of a thing this year, but we'll
Yeah.
talk about that in a second. The Universe series is notable for not having any Optimus Primes. There's only a
A primal.
Primal. Yeah, it's only a Primal.
Counts.
Also, but I do want to point out the Sharkticon because he is
Yes.
so cool,
Yeah, I've seen
and
him. I've never owned him, but I've seen him and I've
I,
always said he's
I,
so
I
cool.
just need one
Lots of
now.
character in him. Yeah.
Yeah, it even has actually beast machines in there. You got Tankor and Cheetor.
Mhm.
That Cheetor that just keeps they just keep making new versions of it, don't they? They just keep doing it.
Who knows, right?
Why? Um, and in the 2007 series, and there's three Optimus Primes in that series versus Barricade, versus Blackout, and versus Scorponok. And I didn't realize there are that many variations of the Robot Heroes Optimus Prime. I think I've only got two or three. So need to track down some more of those. Exciting. And next onto the universe-ish kind of line. The titanium stuff. There was only one titanium figure this year, and that was a battle damaged version of Optimus Prime. It's the same mold as the Optimus Prime that's already been released four times, but this time he's got black smudges on him.
So,
Nice. Hmm?
I don't know. I thought the Titan Master, the Titanium series, is that the kind of metal ones, isn't it?
Yes, 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 yes,
So that's the War Within Grimlock.
yes.
Oh, yes.
So these so Skywalk was a repaint of Starscream, obviously, but Grimlock and Prowl were both new molds. The last of the new molds for the Titanium series, but it was the last two characters from War Within, which is weird because it's War Within characters from the Dreamwave comic that was a few
Yeah,
years previously, and they're still
I
churning out characters from it.
I have to say, I think if Legacy had a War Within series, I think that'd be popular. Like,
Oh
I
yeah,
think
no, definitely.
of the Dreamwave stuff that has stood up and has still retained popularity, the War Within is right up there.
Yeah,
I think everybody enjoys that aspect. And I think the Transformers One, it's quite interesting, that we're kind of thrown back to that, but it would be a great time if somebody was able to bring them back out. Well,
yeah.
I think that'd be popular.
It does a lot of these things being churned out as exclusives. So it's obviously figures that were designed and molds were made, but then the line had sort of dropped off a bit.
Yeah,
So then they just sort of chucked them out as exclusives. I'd actually quite like to own all of the War Within ones of those. They are nice
yeah,
figures. The,
I
the,
think
the
I would too.
downside to them getting hold of second-hand ones these days, they do have the issue that half the parts are die cast and the other parts are plastic, but the plastic parts are normally the joints.
Yeah,
And because they're rubbing against metal, they get really, really loose. So if you've had one that's been transformed a few times, they're just floppy messes by the time you get hold of a second-hand one. My Soundwave that I had went floppy. My War Within Prime is floppy. However, the Robots in Disguise Prime that I've got is beautiful. Anyway, moving on. More universe. So this is where we get properly chug, I would say. Universe is the U in chug. We haven't quite got as far as generations yet, but we have had classics and we've had Henkai Henkai. So we're up to chew. We just need a go. Um, so this is basically a continuation of classics for all intents and purposes. They did incorporate part of the animated line into Universe for the Legends class figures rather than having a separate Legends class
Yeah.
line for animated. They had it within the Legends class Universe line. So this is where they brought out some really, really quite stonking figures. The Hound, Jazz, Beachcomber, Brawn, and Bumblebee Wave. Oh, and Megatron for that matter, are some of the nicest of that era of Legends class
Yeah.
figures that they ever did. They
Had a
were
few of them
very
and they were quite nice.
yeah, they were very much like the old mini-bots, fairly simple transformations, but they looked like the characters or enough like the characters to be pleasing, very G1-esque. And yeah, this is the real, I would argue, the real birth of the Legends line in the
Yeah.
way that we sort of
Yeah.
appreciate it more now.
I think
Of
so.
course, there are some repaints in there. Red Alert, Starscream, and Onslaught are from the Cybertron line a few years back, and of course the animated figures that came. So Prime, Prowl, and Starscream and Bumblebee. And again, these figures really nice. There will be 4 billion versions of each of these figures by the time we reach the end, but only a few repaints in this particular wave. And now we get on to the rest of the universe stuff, or Repaint City. Um,
Yeah.
so they had a bunch of gift sets that appeared in a bunch of different places, some of which are notable and some of which are not really worth mentioning, but I will have a quick go. There's 2 packs of Legends figures, the Aerial Rivals and the Special Team Leaders. The Special Team Leaders was a set that had versions of all of the main bodies of a combiner team. But they were just the Legends class figures from Cybertron repainted. So yeah, like Prime was Hotspot, Vector Prime was Scattershot, um, etc. etc. They yeah, and I don't think I've ever seen them in the shops
No.
or at all for that matter. There was a Battle for the Cyber Planet Keys set, which had 5 deluxe class figures and a load of cyber keys and other such stuff, repaints of Cybertron figures, 2 minicon sets that had exclusive paint jobs of some of the minicons, and a couple of these ended up being quite sought after in later years, and also the box sets themselves are quite sought after. Although I
Yeah.
remember picking them up in Woolworths for pennies.
Yeah. No, I think that probably that's a point for this. There's a few bits on this that have that aspect that and
Mm,
we'd had that beforehand, but aspects of stuff that's dirt cheap
mm.
and then suddenly becomes crazy money. People
It's
are fighting to
madness.
get it.
Yeah, there were some really good ones in there, and some of the sets had sort of the 12 pack. There's a couple in there that I can see in the pictures that look like homages to the mini bots, Micromasters. That's word just spun out of my head there. But they look like they're homages to the Micromaster figures. And there was also repaint gift sets of Superion and Bruticus Maximus,
The
and
Brutus Maximus, what? There's one
yeah,
that was no interest in it, and
yeah,
then I know we're going to start talking about third party,
yeah,
but this that set was one of those early third party adaptation
yes,
kits.
yeah,
It did give 2 new robots that could let you have a proper British accent,
Yeah,
and that set suddenly became like gold dust.
exactly.
Thankfully, I had it, and I remember getting it and going, "Oh, this is not very good," and it get
Mm,
put in a box. And then when the third party kit was announced, I was like, "Oh my god, please tell me I've not been bits of this, or I've lost bits of it, or lost bits that I need." Yeah, they were. I didn't. I was never impressed with them originally. That on their own they're not great, but they
mm.
then become better. But then in the opposite end, you've got a reissue of one of the toys that genuinely still has the and a joyous feel of, oh my god, I can't believe how this is in Unicron. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
another opportunity to get Unicron. And I think it's funny that mold actually had so much repaints and reissues. Like, for it being so big and for it being such a big deal to get a Unicron finally, it then had, what, three different repaints originally and then has multiple versions,
Mm.
reissues. Funny.
Yeah, that and also there's a repaint of Cybertron Prime and Crumple Zone, but I'm not sure how repainted they are. The gun on Prime is red, but hmm, I might have to track that box set down because after picking Crumple Zone as my bot of the week a few weeks ago, I've really wanted to get my hands back on one. So
I know that feeling of some of
yeah,
these.
don't. If I made a list and became
No.
rich. Right, let's move on because this is supposed to be a quick slide. Aha. More in the universe line. This is universe 2, technically, because there was a universe line already. And again, there's a lot of repaints. There's a couple of
Yeah.
new molds, but the majority of these are repaints. So Blades is evac from
Yep.
Cybertron, blasters from Cybertron, drop shots from Cybertron. They're all actually. I'm going to stop saying they're all from Cybertron because they're all from Cybertron, except for Treadbolt, which is a repaint of Jetfire. There's a Nemesis Prime, ooh, and Inferno is the only new mold in the Voyager class figures, and
Yeah.
Inferno is a stonking figure.
It's a great toy.
Absolute, it's
A great toy.
so nice. It's a
Yeah.
really good bot mode, really solid, really chunky, and an amazing alt mode. And the repaints that exist of him are all
Yes.
fantastic. There's not a single one of them I don't like.
No, the hot shot's
Um,
beautiful. Hot shot's
oh,
my
it's so good.
favorite version of that mold. I love it.
And
Just the shove a bit of blue in it.
there's Grapple, and there's the one. There's a G2 homage, and I've forgotten the name of the
Oh,
character,
is
but
there? I never into
he
that.
was in a BotCon box set, which
Oh.
I ended up having, and I sold it to Dave Wright because he wanted it more than I did. Um, Onslaught in the Ultra class, he's a great mold.
He is. He is.
Lots of lights and sounds and funky things. They did really
Yes.
go all in on lights and sounds on
Yeah.
this year.
And another one that gets a third party upgrade later down the line. He gets a hard
Yes,
head.
yes, he does.
And
Yeah,
actually was a fantastic use of that mold. It was like almost as if Hasbro were like, we're doing this on purpose for this down the line. Like,
yeah,
just so clever.
yeah. Powerglide, who isn't red and is also scaled correctly as opposed to a mini bot, which is an odd choice.
Do you know the cool thing about this Powerglide toy? The kind of
Which
little hidden bit.
oh, the heart.
Yeah, that's so
Yeah,
nice.
it is
It's like
nice.
that. This is the first time where I remember toys, and we have, at this point we have other ones that come in that are just like not scaled to go with the toys, but more scaled, just fun. But this was the first point there was kind of things in these toys that showed you that the designers were fans. Like they
Yeah.
were kind of doing real homage bits that just are like you're only doing that if you're a fan, and that's an interesting kind of change in the journey.
I mean, yeah, we are definitely at the point now, 2007, 2008, where you're going to have people who would have grown up with
Yeah.
Transformers becoming toy designers. And that also is why we've got the sort of rise of the third
Mm.
party. Um, Now, Silverbolt is a weird one in my book because I hate it, but also it's the one
Oh,
that's the most G1 accurate.
hate it. This is genuinely one of my favorite toys of all time. I've got three of the thing.
See,
I can't sell them. Like I was given, I bought one originally. I bought one in a lot, and then I got given one, and I can't sell them because I just love it. I just think it's such a fun toy. The electronics in it, just Oh, you've upset me.
I'm not saying no. I'm not saying it's not a good toy. I'm just saying I hate it. Now I can't even tell you why I hate it. I think it's because it's like the jet mode is fine. It looks nice, but it's really static. Nothing. You can't do anything with it. Like it's just a
Yeah.
wing basically. But yeah, it's got the lights and sounds. That's fine. It has a G1 accurate gun. That's really nice. And his bot mode is spot on G1 silver bolt. Perfect. But I think what it is that it's just a flat plane that has a flat robot on the other side.
Yeah. I get
And all you
I do
do
get
is
that. I
move
do
his
get that.
legs out, move his arms out. I think that's
I
why I hated it. I,
I tell you
I,
the
I
only
like
thing I
it
hate
more
about
now.
it
So,
is they never then made the other ones to go with it. Like there's
no,
the
no.
only negative of it, in my opinion. Honestly just one of my top tier toys of all time.
I think that they did miss a trick with the new molds specifically because they've got two combiners were released
Hmm?
this year. Two combiner bodies. Now they weren't designed to be combiners,
No,
but
no, no,
would
no.
it have been so difficult to put ports on them to do a
I don't
combiner
think
later
so.
down the line?
I don't think so.
It would have been, yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, missed opportunity, I feel. And then there was Stormcloud, who was a repaint of Powerglide that was black for reasons. Yeah. Moving on.
Yes.
Deluxe.
Now,
Now.
and this is some absolute. I look at this like at this, and there's some in this that are just like, oh, love it, absolutely love them, and then there's others where I'm like, oh, pish, so funny, so
It
funny.
is such a contrary line. There are so many figures in this line that are just absolutely. Oh, I would even argue some are almost definitive versions of characters.
Yep, yep, I agree,
Um,
actually.
uh, but then there's just some dross. It's so weird. I'm going to go through each of these and give a quick verdict. There is 2 pages of them because there were so many. So Acid Storm, just a repaint of Starscream. Starscream is just a repaint of Starscream, but weirdly, you don't have any of the other jets as repaints in this particular line. So we've still only got at this point officially Starscream, Acid Storm, and Skywarp. Is that it?
Yeah, and again, not a third party. I suppose it's
Oh,
Chaos, but
Dirge, Dirge. We had
the
Dirge as
sheer
well.
volume of that that mold that was created because
So many.
like you said, some of these are definitive. That Starscream is a damn near perfect Starscream. Like
Yeah,
it was for the longest time, and I do think the new one is better. Like, I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
think it's not, but that was one of my absolute pinnacle toys for a long time. Like this is what they need to do. And listen, I take the other one. I like. I know you're about to go into maybe Hound. Like Hound is
Oh, yeah,
just
yeah.
Hound. Hound's just gorgeous. Like comes out Ravage, which again a great wee G1 nod, but that Hound toy is beautiful. Like I think that Hound's better than the current one. I genuinely think
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think that Hound is just not been surpassed.
No, it's a lovely looking figure. But the only weird thing with it is that its colorings and the design of it seem like it's from a different range almost
Yes, yes.
because it's like almost
It's
like
like
an
it's been brought back for
animated.
the future or something. It doesn't
Yeah,
fit into
yeah,
this.
yeah. It's like
Yeah.
it's like an animated style of a show that doesn't exist, whereas all the others are like updated versions of the characters, but not in like an animated style at all. They're
It's
like
almost
just
too good.
yeah, exactly, yeah. It's
It does.
so weird.
It is.
And it
But
comes with
yeah.
Ravage. The Ravage is it's a decent Ravage. I wouldn't say it's
Uh,
a definitive Ravage, but it's
no, 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 no.
definitely
It's
it's
a
not the
good
best,
ravage.
it's not the worst. It's a good one.
Yeah,
So skipping over to Cheetor, which is one of objectively the worst toys ever committed to.
absolutely.
It's
Yeah,
so
agree.
weird because
It's
all
so
of
weird.
these are new versions of characters with new tooling and new engineering and new transformations and everything. So generally speaking, they should be an improvement. However,
Yeah.
Cheetor is objectively just worse than the original Cheetor toy.
Yes. Yes, I agree. Let's move on.
Um,
Yeah, let's
yeah,
go to proper. Next one's again
I,
amazing.
Cyclonus is yeah, he's an absolutely fantastic figure and comes with his Target Master. Really good mold, really good figure, looks amazing, love it.
And his Target Master is such a well delivered Target Master
Oh
as well.
yeah, very much so. Drag Strip is a yellow repaint of Mirage. Moving on. Galvatron, it's one of the first official Galvatrons that's not just a repaint of a Megatron, which is interesting. I think maybe even the
Yeah.
first
Yeah.
Galvatron that's not a repaint of Megatron
Well, not.
since
I was going to say
G1 Galvatron.
not the
Yeah,
first,
I
but
was going to
he's just.
quantify it.
Oh, he's such a shit toy.
Oh yeah, no,
Such a
he's
shit.
awful. And also he has tooling on him for a third mode that they never quite finished.
What did they? I don't know
There's
that.
like a cannon mode. There's like little legs that come out, but he doesn't actually have that mode. Weird. Ironhide, who is the best worst figure in this line.
Mm.
He's
Skip it. His
awesome.
name.
Yeah, he's got a really interesting transformation. He does fold out in such an interesting way,
Yeah, it
but
does.
he doesn't quite stand right, and he's a little bit janky in places. His weapon is weird, but it is nice to have an official G1-esque Ironhide
Yes.
with a
Yeah.
head.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Agree. Agree. Agree.
Megatron and Optimus, they came in a two-pack with. Have they come out? Yeah, they're in the classics line. So they were out a couple of years ago with the spinny awful Prime and the spinny awful Megatron. They're awful.
Yeah.
Overkill is a repaint of Grimlock, and I hate that mold, so I hate
Yeah.
that figure.
Agree.
Prowl is a really, really nice version of
That's a great mold. I love that mold. Again, some molds in this that I just think are absolute. I don't think get like Starscream. I think it's been surpassed now.
oh yeah,
But the Prowl, that Prowl mode, it's obviously Silver Streak as well.
yeah,
Beautiful toys, really, really well engineered
absolutely
toys.
gorgeous. Yeah,
And this is the first point where I start to think, define what I wanted my collection to be. I wanted modern, upgraded, proper versions of
yeah,
the G1 character. I think before now I was just buying Transformers to Transformers, and
yeah,
then started to go, no, I only really want to buy modern versus G1, and I kind of honed
yeah,
my collection in at that point. It's went the opposite now and went, I just buy
yeah.
toys.
Yeah, I think I had most of no, I had all of the universe figures that weren't just repaints of odd repaints. I didn't have the
Yeah,
Megatron Optimus, I didn't have Dragstrip,
yeah,
I didn't have Overkill, but I had every other figure in this line.
yeah. I
I
didn't
only
have
got
Cheetor.
Cheetor. I got Cheetor quite late on because I'd never seen him in the shops, and then I finally got my hands on him, and I was like, "Oh well." I mean, that was a disappointment. Um, the only thing I don't like about the Prowl and Silver Streak mold is that the head sits up a little bit high.
Yeah, yeah. I
Um,
agree. I agree. Other than that, I think it is
oh,
a damn near, not a perfect toy, but a damn near good toy.
definitely. Sideswipe and Sunstreaker, really, really cool because even though they're exactly the same mold, they have a slightly different transformation, which makes them
It's
look
so
completely
clever.
different in robot mode, and
So clever.
absolutely love that.
I love
Um,
these two toys. I
yes,
absolutely love these. It really the the G1s obviously are both Countachis, but they're not the exact same. They don't look the exact same, so they don't. You're never expecting them to be. You're not expecting the robot mods to be the same, but you look at the two of these, you expect them to be the same, and they're not, and that's clever.
yeah. And then we're going to move on to what, in my opinion, is the biggest fail of the universe chug line, and that is Tankor or Octane.
Yeah,
He has three modes, all of
yeah.
which, and this is actually quite incredible, but all three modes are awful. I'm it's absolutely it's like ordinarily you can tell that they start with an alt mode and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
they build a robot mode out of it. But I could not tell you what mode they started off with Tankor. Is it the plane with the stubby wings that doesn't look anything like a plane, has half a truck stuck to it? Or is it the truck that doesn't look like any form of truck known to man? Or is it the robot that is awful? I don't know. And also, it's really small. It's
yeah. It's
a
weird. It's
horrible
not good.
toy.
Not good. Not good.
Horrible. Anyway.
I can't get rid of it. I've had it for years, and I put it in resale piles. I could never get rid of it.
I think I got rid of it. I think I maybe stuck it in a box with some other stuff just to get rid of it. I can't remember. Oh, maybe there wasn't another. Oh no,
No, there
everything's
wasn't.
gone
No,
wrong. I've gone wrong. I've gone wrong. Ah, I thought there was a second page. There wasn't.
no, that isn't.
Masterpiece. I said we'd have a page on Masterpiece every week because all of the really exciting figures were coming out, and then this year, none of the exciting figures came out.
No, no. I
No,
know, and I don't think we need to focus on it because Thundercrackers
no,
essentially looks almost like the original
it
release of
does.
the
It's
Thunder.
not
It's actually,
not exciting at all.
and we all know my opinion on the USA edition,
Exactly.
that beautiful mode.
Yeah, it's. I don't think it's anything different from the US version. Might be a slightly different paint scheme, but anyway, it doesn't matter.
I think it is, by the way. There is a slight change to the paint. I think it's a
Yes,
slightly bit darker, but not enough that
yes.
it's worth talking about.
No,
So
no, no,
let's move on
no.
to the
What's
good
what's
stuff.
doing?
Let's get into the good stuff now.
Right, animated. Now, animated this year is split into some very similar waves of different toys. Words. So they had different lines that were very similar to the lines that were released for the 2007 movie. That's what I was trying to say. So you had battle bumpers that were a bit like the crashing ones that we had last thing, and the activators, which are jumpy up ones. But it's sort of very similar to the number of
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
types of different waves that we had for the 2007 movie. So bumper battlers. They're quite simple. You bash them, they pop up, or you press a button and they pop up, or something along those lines. Um, yeah,
They were
that's
proper kiddie fuddler
oh
stuff. I
yeah,
never had
100%.
any. They never appealed to me
No. Oh
because they were just too kiddie orientated.
yeah,
Which I suppose activators really are as well.
yes,
But activators might be my favourite new gimmick. Um, you know, just I remember getting the first one and just being like, this is so clever. Like
yeah.
this is so it's there's just I can't not pick up one of my activators and not smile because I just think they're great fun. Great
They
fun
are
toys.
yeah, they're really fun, and also they look good in both modes.
Yes.
Considering
Yes,
what
yeah,
they
yeah,
are,
yeah.
yeah, I mean they're basically auto transforming little things that spring loaded pop out. But yeah, the vehicle modes, I mean, Bulkhead looks a little bit squashed, but not really. The jets
No,
are a little bit short, but not really. I mean, you compare them to the bumper battlers, which are sort of more chibi kind of sort of style vehicles, apart from Bumblebee, who just looks the same because he's already quite
yeah,
chibi.
yeah, yeah.
And the Optimus is obviously amazing in the Activators line. But yeah, they're great. The only thing I will point out about the bumper battlers is Night Watch Optimus Prime,
That's
who
nice. That
is
does look
in
nice.
Shattered Glass colors,
I've never seen
more or
that
less.
before.
No, I've
But
seen it
did jump
about,
out to me
but
going, oh,
yeah. Um, so he's quite cool. And let's move on. Deluxe class.
oh, oh,
Yes.
so much goodness in this. Like so much goodness.
What is really, really cool about the animated line is because you had quite a small core set of characters, they allowed them a little bit more room to make new molds for all the characters.
Mm.
But also they had enough sort of additional characters shown in a couple of episodes that they could sort of go to town on those as well. Um, very few repaints, which is refreshing, considering the rest of this year. The only ones being a repaint of Lockdown and the repaint of Bumblebee. Everybody else has their own mold, nice new loveliness, and they're just so nice.
Do you know? I'm looking at this and I'm going, there's not a bad toy on that page,
Look,
and
there really,
that's
really
a
isn't.
rare thing. Like, there's some absolute standouts. Like Swindle is genuinely. Oh, I remember picking Swindle up, just being like, "This is brilliant," and I absolutely love that thing.
Yeah,
I repainted one into a Gears, like when I was back doing customs. I just love the toy, and I just was like, I want this to look like Gears because the truck mode kind of looks like original Gears. The Soundwave, like the Soundwave is such a clever new version of Soundwave,
yeah,
and the fact the guitar transforms into Laserbeak is
yeah,
just like it's so clever. The blur, there's so many of these toys I would easily put in my top toys of all time because I just think they're so well delivered.
yeah.
Um, the swoop, like the swoop has something about him. It has a when he transforms into his robot, it has grace about him. Like the
He's just
toy
such
just
a
has something about it's just oh
so gangly and just
yeah.
nice, but also the really really amazing thing about animated is that the toys all look good in both modes,
Yes, yeah, 100%.
and that is. a real rarity in Transformers toys, especially lines based on an animation where something's come before the toys. Um, yeah, and yeah, you're right. There's not really a bad one in there. The
No.
Dinobots are fantastic. They're chunksome. They're just really just look awesome and also very G1. And there's, as we've said before, so many G1 influences. Ratchet's tools that come out of the back of his head and all that stuff. Black Arachne is amazing. I'm not even going to mention the Optimus
I
Prime.
I bought both repaints in this line, and I would like you before. Why would I ever have bought a Bumblebee and an Elite Guard at the same time?
Mm,
Why would I bought a Lockdown and then a Blazing Up Lockdown? Why? Because they were just so good.
yeah.
That Lockdown toy is like I don't have all these out, but I have my Lockdown, I have Oil Slick, and I have one that's coming up in another one or two or three. I've got the my activators out as well. There's so many good bits. Prowl with his ninja stars, like
And yeah.
so many clever toys. Oh, just take me back to that time and put them back on the shelf again. I would be over the moon to go and buy them again,
Yeah,
even though I've
yeah.
got them.
Yeah, again, it's another line that I'm like, oh, I want more
It's a
toys again.
Cybertron. It's a Cybertronian mode Optimus Prime that I got signed
Oh, nice,
for my
nice.
Optimus Prime signed collections.
Yeah,
Just because
no,
I wanted it on that size, and the kind of big one. I want the card size, so I thought I'm going to get that one done. Just a
he's
slightly different
he's a
design.
nice mold as well. He's better than the other deluxe version of Prime, the one
Yeah.
that came with the two pack. Right, moving on.
Oh,
Voyagers. Oh, now this
oh,
is a absolutely stonking set of figures.
yep, yep.
Again, not
Oh
a
man, everyone.
bad one. Not a bad one. All just that's just so nice. In fact, I would even go as far as to say it's probably one of the weaker ones of the line is Optimus Prime.
I
Um,
agree. I agree. And it's not because he's a bad toy.
no,
It's
no,
because the others are
just
Blitzwing's just amazing.
he's
Like
so good.
Grimlock's so full of character. That's the thing these toys actually bring is that you feel the character from the show in the
Yeah,
toy. Like
yeah.
you get the sense of them. I think that I think I would say that the ones that should be big that we'll talk about in a minute because we're going to get to the bigger size. I think the ones that should be bigger are better. Like I think
Yes,
Bulkhead is good, but he can be bettered.
yeah,
Megatron is good, but can be bettered. The
yeah.
Starscream in this, but to be fair, is just that's again another one of the best ever toys. At this line is so good, and I am jealous of people who I know Pete from Transformers shows kind of going through the collection just now, and he's experiencing a lot of these for the first time. I am so jealous of people have got that opportunity, who have never experienced these and never had that. They're fun toys. They
Mm.
look amazing, and they're not the most expensive. You know, there are some that are expensive, but they're not the most expensive collection to pick up.
No.
They're just beautiful.
And I will add to your jealousy because there are definitely some figures there that I have never played with, including Lugnut, Blitzwing, Shockwave, and
Shockwave's the only
Cybertron
one in
mode.
this I haven't. Shockwave's
Yeah,
the only one in this I haven't, and I would like Shockwave.
even the Cybertron mode Megatron. I've only played with the big one. I haven't played with the Voyager one.
Um,
Um,
Cybertron mode Megatron's alright. It's not
they
bad.
are so many. Just they're just lovely figures. And we didn't mention it in when we are talking about animated itself, but I love the fact that all of the jets are clones of Starscream.
Yes,
That's
yes,
a
yeah, yeah, yeah.
really, really
It's a great
nice.
story arc of it as
Yeah,
well. Like,
it is so good.
and
And
it's all different personalities. Just oh,
first
so
appearance of
clever.
Slipstream,
Yes,
um,
yeah, yeah,
which is always a. I like Slipstream as a character sometimes when she actually has a character. Anyway,
yeah.
moving on. Right, so we've got a bunch of rubbish and then some good things. So we have the Optimus Prime Battle Blaster, which is basically a remold of the Optimus Prime Battle Blaster from the 2007 movie line. There's Powerbot Cyber Speed Bumblebee. I have no idea what that is. I just put the picture in because it was on the list. It's a toy. It doesn't look like it transforms. It's probably a bit like the Cyber big dudes that were in the
Yeah.
2007 line. Um, Supreme Class Rollout and Command Optimus Prime, which I'll talk about in a second. But let's go on to the leader class figures because, oh my God.
Bulkhead is. I'm not picked him for my toy of the year because I kind of want to pick something that's a little bit more. not surprising, but just sheer joyful. But this toy is honestly like, again, I had it when Jamie was old enough and wanted one. I gave him mine, then bought another one. Then when Sean was old enough, I gave him that one. I've bought three of these, all in mint condition because I just love it. It's just such a toy that has such presence about it. The electronics in it are just fantastic. The voice chips. The most genius bit of all still is the connect the head and the voice changes. And
Hmm.
it's like, outrage, outrage. Oh, it honestly makes me happy so much. And that head can then be used on other of the animated toys and has the same gimmick. And that is brilliant. Like, that's the
It
head.
really
I
is.
love the headmaster gimmick for the original. I love modern versions of the headmaster toys. Nothing makes me smile more than that headmaster because it just has fun all over it. Honestly, one of the top 10 Transformer toys I own is that Leadercraft bulkhead because how much it makes me smile. And it's like, and on my front, underneath my tail is all my masterpiece, G1 season 1 and 2 masterpiece. And except for one toy, which is up there, and it's Leadercraft bulkhead because he just sits up beside my Xbox because he's just that good.
Yes. I'm never touched him.
Oh, oh, I'm buying the
So,
Leaderclass bulkhead at TFN next year. Like, I can't believe that. Oh, you need to own one because I know how much you'll enjoy that. So
uh,
that's TFN purchase next year. I'll get
fair.
you one.
I'm not going to argue against that. Megatron, we've talked about already. He's a lovely
Oh,
figure. Really, it's a really nice helicopter mode. His
it
swords
is.
become his rotor
It is.
blades. He's an amazing, chunksome robot. I really love the design of Megatron when he stopped just being a head. And
Yeah.
the Ultra Magnus, he is wonderful.
Yes,
Such a
it really is.
massive, imposing, stoic,
He's got,
heroic looking
again,
figure.
presence.
So much
Presence. Like,
presence.
yeah.
I haven't actually played with the Ultra Magnus version, but I have played with the
Second.
is it Road? No,
Oh no, Roadbuster.
the Roadbuster version.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he was.
I still want the Shadow Blade Megatron because I love the Megatron.
Mm,
I'd love that black repaint.
yeah,
But it's one of those ones. It's on. It's, you'll have the same, and everybody that's listening will have the same. A
yeah.
list of toys you'd like to get, but it's not your top, so it's never something you
No,
hunt
no.
for.
Yeah, yeah,
But I mean, and over the last however many weeks we've been doing this, my list gets longer. But I was saying this to my wife that we're talking about going to record this, and I was saying let's talk about animated, and I can't wait. And there's not many if animated on that list because I've experienced most of them or own
mm,
most of them. But that the joy of this last 18 weeks and the joy we've got to look forward to the rest of this doing for the 40 years is it reminds me how good things were at a time, and
yeah,
I never appreciated at the time how good animated was.
yeah,
I knew it was good, and it was like, oh my god, my collecting has been reinvigorated. This was the point that the other bit that I want to comment on was this was the year I got with my now wife, and she and has continually embraced my geekness.
mm.
The joy I had was she knew me before I broke up with my ex, who was like, nope, nope, you shouldn't be doing this. And she was always like, why are you last? No, you should be with somebody. And we joke about it all the time that some of my friends have got partners like that. And it's like she's like, no, no, be you and be all in you. And she was like that in this. And I remember going to Toys R Us with her, and she would be like, we'd be driving home from work, and we lived in Glasgow at the time, and she'd be like, let's go to Toys, let's see if there's any new animated toys. She'd never watched it, she had no interest in it, but she knew that it made me happy. So I think that, that accumulation, we all have that bit of the how we felt at the time or what our experience was collecting has an impact on how we feel about stuff. Animated probably has so much positivity about it for me, for the show being amazing, the toys being amazing, and being able to indulge myself on it and get lots of these. Just, it was great. Like, it was the first line that I don't remember going up to the checkout at Toys R Us and going, "Yeah, it's for my nephew," and I was like, "This is for me. I don't care. I'm all in, and this. If she's accepting me, you can deal with it, pal." But yeah, but Shadow Blade's the one probably from all of animated that I've not experienced. I mean, I've experienced them all, but I just want to have that on my shelf because it looks so pretty. But yeah, at some point I'll get one.
Yeah. I'm going to briefly touch on Rollout Command Optimus Prime
Go
because
for
it's just awful. I hate it.
it.
It's
I
too
can't even
big.
think of what it looks like genuinely like.
I was trying to. I know I've got it knocking around somewhere, but I must have hidden it on the back somewhere because it's just big. And
Yeah,
where is it?
but I remember
It's around somewhere.
I think that's funny because obviously last week was 2007 episode, and I was at the NEC for the toy fair, and I saw that big stupid Bumblebee, and I remember looking at. I remember I was chatting about it when I looked at it. That's stupidly big. That's ridiculous. You
Yeah,
just said that. That's what jumped in my head there, going, "Yeah, I can imagine that feeling." That
yeah. It's
just make some Supreme class doesn't mean it needs to be good.
exactly, exactly. I mean, whereas with Universe, you've got all the different size classes, and they sort of make sense to an extent. Having a Supreme class figure, it's always been just to have a stupidly large, stupid figure for no reason apart from it being a stupidly large, stupid figure. It's normally of an existing character. There are exceptions, obviously, like Unicron. But other than that, it's just a big toy. It would be like making Titan class these days and having Titan class Bumblebee. You know, yeah, exactly,
Can you imagine
exactly.
that?
Yeah,
It is,
exactly.
and it's a great point. Like, why,
Yeah.
why, why?
And,
It doesn't
know,
interact with anything. Like, as soon as the whole bit of Transformers or any toy line should be the interaction with other toys, and like that's where I first time they did it in Beast Machines with the Supreme Class Cheetor and Night Screams. Like, why? Like, what did they? I can't use these with anything else. Not that I'm sitting playing with toys, but you're displaying them. It's like I can't display that with that. That's just
it,
dead.
what's weird about it, again, is that it's part of the main line. So it's the other class of the main line.
Yeah,
Uh, but it feels more like a toy aimed at a 5-year-old.
yeah,
It doesn't seem like it's part of the rest of the line because,
yeah,
the gimmick is it rolls along, it flips round, and it does a thing, and it's Optimus Prime, and it probably says I'm Optimus Prime, and it
yeah.
makes noises and lights up, but it's a terrible figure to
You
actually
know,
play with as an action figure.
and the annoying bit for things like that, you'll feel the same when there's slots. They're saying, right, so Hasbro sat down and said, we need a Supreme Class size toy this year.
Hmm.
The Arc, could have done an Arc, even without doing it transforming. Could have done a Supreme Class Arc with lights
Yeah.
and sounds. It's a kind of that would have been incredibly popular, and we all would have been talking. We'd be sitting here right now going, "Do you remember the time they brought out an Arc?"
Yeah, well,
We would do.
don't forget in animated the arc is Omega Supreme.
No, but
So
is that not until season three? So just
it's not
at
until
this
season
point,
three. I mean, at
you would
this
have thought
point,
that
yeah, at this point
if
we've
it's
still got
just for something lights and sounds for a kid's Christmas to get the
yeah.
big toy of the year, because that's what this screams a. We want Transformers to be the big toy of the year that everyone
Oh yeah,
wants.
yeah,
Let's make
yeah,
a
yeah,
big
yeah.
version of it. Do an art play set that just makes lights and sounds.
Yeah,
Role playing then because you're not about to transform it, but you could, anyway they
yeah.
haven't.
It's a figure that I put off getting for a really long time, and then I was offered one a lot, so I now have one. I'm so pleased.
Proud of you.
Next, we're moving into the continuation of the 2007 movie line. Now, go have a quick thing on this, and that is that the 2007 movie line suffered from one really big problem: not enough characters in the film,
Like
which
we said, not enough
means
toys.
oh, oh no,
Yeah,
there's enough
yeah,
toys, but there was
yeah,
not enough characters in the film for Hasbro to make really cool action figures from. It's exactly the opposite of what they had with animated. As I said earlier, it was a core group of characters, but it had like lots of
yeah,
ancillary
yeah,
characters that came in, and they could put some effort into making some really nice molds. Obviously, the characters and stuff are quite complicated in the movie line, so there's a bit more engineering involved. So probably cost a little bit more money for development and molding and all that sort of stuff that we're not really interested in. We just want good toys. So it did mean that this year is so many repaints.
yeah, it is. But
It's
I think
just
we can rattle
repaints.
through them based on that
Well,
because
yeah,
there's nothing
exactly.
exciting, and a
Well,
lot of this there's nothing exciting.
I
It's
don't think
just
there's a
getting the brand on the end of it.
yeah, I think the Real Gear ones are all the
Yeah,
same figures as remolded. The All Spark Battles, there's no new molds, they're just repaints. The role play items are the only two new molds,
yeah.
the Bumblebee gun and the Ratchet gun, but they're not particularly exciting and don't transform, so who cares? Next, Fast Action Battlers, I think they are all repaints. Yep, no,
Yeah,
they
I think
are
so.
all
Yep.
repaints. They're all repaints. So there's Desert Brawl, another Bumblebee, only one other Bumblebee, but then there's Smokescreen, who always actually suited the car mode of Jazz better, I thought.
Yep. Yep.
Another version of Ironhide, another version of Megatron. The only one I like and actually didn't know existed and now need is Optimus Prime Fire Blast because it's a homage. It's a homage to Fire Guts Convoy slash a little bit Hot Rod, but I'm going to go with more Fire Guts Convoy, and therefore I need that in my life because I love a bright orange repaint of Optimus Prime for reasons. There are four more Cyber Slammers, all of which are repaints, apart from maybe Ironhide. But yeah. Anyway, moving on.
Nobody cares.
Scout class. Scout
Oh.
class. Here's a weird one. So I took this picture off of Transformer Land as I always do. Thank you, Transformer Land. And three of the figures are unreleased. They're unreleased, but also who cares because they're just repaints of Cybertron figures. Unlike the other three figures in the Scout class line, which are repaints of Cybertron figures, except for Crosshairs, who's a repaint of an Energon figure. So we're getting like 5-year-old toys
Yeah, nothing
repainted,
exciting at that
nothing
point.
new. Even the Ultra class are just repaints
I think
of
that's probably
Cybertron
it's a
figures.
cheap toy that they can get
Oh,
out and have the
definitely.
Transformers brand on the bit. So
Yeah.
there's not some of the repeat some things that they do that are probably in that category end up being brilliant, but
Yes.
this is not one of them.
No. No. Yeah, I mean, taking some really interesting molds from Cybertron, like Jetstorm, well, which was Jetfire, and Wingblade, who was Wingblade, and painting them to be more realistic, so drab grey, and then re-releasing these really cool looking molds in just drab grey does not in any way, shape, or form excite me. Let's move on to deluxe class. Now, this one definitely has 2 pages. So,
Yes.
going to really quickly, not even bother really rattling through this. It's a mixture of Cybertron
Well,
repaints.
they released a toy called Big Daddy. I think that's hilarious.
Big.
Big Daddies that come with 2-pack loop. Oh, so child. Big Daddy, Big Child.
You are a child. So there's a couple of things of note in here, but not really. But yeah, Big Daddy, that's fine. You can have your Big Daddy. Although again, he's been repainted. There's other I've definitely seen that. I think he might even be a
Yes.
version of a Minicon,
No, I don't
possibly,
think
and
so.
maybe even anyway. I'm sure somebody will know. I think the only new mold in that entire page is Camshaft, but he might even have been a repaint of somebody else.
I'm not 100%
Um,
sure if he is. Yeah, but
don't know.
Cam bringing it a Omnibot name, like kind of
Hmm.
interesting. But like, where are they? What they're pulling from at this point?
Although he might be
Interesting.
off of that mold from the one that the red car that was the one from the game Swerve, maybe. Could be wrong.
I don't think there's a
S-
bad thing about these kind of reissuing and
oh
re-releasing
no,
the
no, no.
stuff in the movie because at this point, we're so used to movie comes out in the cinema, it's then streaming like 2 or 3 months later. This point wasn't like that. The movie would have dropped in DVD and had a big push on DVD and stuff the next year, and it was a big seller on DVD. So
Oh,
actually, at this
definitely.
point, if
Yeah,
you
yeah,
just
yeah.
picked up Transformers the movie on DVD, you would have go and pick up a toy. So I, I I remember at the time people going, well, "There's no movie out this year. Why the line?" But that's so short-sighted to go actually.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
so many people experience for the first time. I think it's good in a sense of the sales and keep the brand alive to keep this, and you should have those core characters on, and then how do you keep other things on? And
Definitely.
I didn't pick anything up from this point of the
No,
Transformers
but
2007 stuff. I never picked up like kind of premium series versions of them
yeah,
to
that's
know if
what
they're
I
any
was.
good.
Yeah, I was just going to go on to that. The deluxe class did have its own subline. So you had Allspark Power, which was this is the line this year, which was basically repaints, and to make them look like they had Allspark Power, which is
Yeah.
exciting. Cliff Jumper is really nice. I'll give them that. He was a repaint of whichever Bumblebee was also repainted twice in that same line. What else? Nothing particularly exciting. But the premium versions were really nice. They had a premium paint job. It's basically like buying a normal standard Takara figure. Um, rather than a Hasbro version. So they had different paint apps, they had better paint apps, they looked nicer. They were just really good figures. And Barricade is still just an amazing figure, as stated last time. Moving on to more of them. So really, is there anything to note? I've got one thing to note.
So there, you go. What about
Okay.
you? What's your thoughts?
What my note is, okay, so there's no new molds there. Landmine might be a new mold actually.
I think
Who's
he is. Yeah, I think Landmine
yeah.
was a new mold.
Uh
I can could be
Other than
redrawn. I'm
that,
sure. It.
and that's four of that same Bumblebee mode mold this year. Same
But
mold. It's not
Bumblebee
even a
was
different.
just so popular. But that's
Exactly.
stealth Bumblebee, so that's a different one. You know, it's
Yeah, I had that one. My figure of note is Jolt. Only because
color looks gorgeous on that.
yeah, it does. But also, Jolt actually became a character in the next film for two
Right.
and a half seconds. So it's
Right.
interesting that they chose that as a character. What was your thing of note?
So my note, so I got a couple of these this line, and when I did the kind of challenge I did with Jamie at TFN 2 years ago, and I picked up Salvage, and it's a toy that I would never have picked up, but actually I found to be a really fun, interesting transformation,
Hmm.
and I think that's the bit that what I didn't do was buy these kind of toys. Like, I look at the overcast and go, that's kind of funky looking. I like the light colours. I would never pick them up, but I think now you can pick a lot of this stuff up for dirt cheap, and it's kind of fun to still be experiencing. Obviously we get new molds as and we get new things every year. Like that, there's never a year where you're not getting new Transformers, right?
No,
But to go back and experience old toys that you've never experienced is kind of fun.
yeah.
So the salvage one is one that, I mean, it's not a display, to be honest, it's in a box. But I remember just being like, this is kind of fun. Actually, I'm quite impressed with this. It's kind of fun wee toy. So yeah,
Salvage is a repaint of one from last year, I think,
yeah,
isn't he? I can't remember what he was
yeah.
repainted from. And I think Overcast might be as well, but I hadn't actually realized that Overcast isn't just a Cybertron repaint. I thought he was, but looking at him now, I thought he was the same mold as Dive Bomb, which is the Rust from
Yeah,
Cybertron.
yeah. But it looks
Um,
different.
yes,
Overcast, it does look different.
yeah, it does look
And
like a
it's
different
a
mold.
black jet with bits of green on it. It's kind of nice. The
Yeah.
joke looks lovely. The colours, the purple colour in that. I'm
Yeah,
like, can I have
what
that?
mold is that? That's Cybertron. I can't remember which Cybertron figure it
Smoke.
is.
It looks like a smoke screen type mold.
It's yeah, the smokescreen was a repaint of another
Right,
one,
or
wasn't he?
something.
But it's the one that looks like a Bugatti. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a nice figure. And Grindcore, who's uh, basically repaint of a Constructicon and looks
yeah.
quite nice. Anyway, let's move on. Voyagers. Now, did you think we'd had enough repaints?
Nope.
No.
Never. Never.
So this I mean, they're all repaints. There's not a single new figure in there. Um, the ones that I do quite like. Oh, sorry, I'm lying. Incinerator is a new mold. Incinerator was the VTOL. Oh, what's that kind of helicopter called?
I know what you mean. I kind
The
of get it.
vertical two blade takey offy helicopter. It actually appears that that type of helicopter is actually in one of the Transformers films, but not
Yeah.
the it's in Dark of the Moon, I think. I forget what they're called. It's completely dropped out of my head. That's annoying. Anyway, but the rest of them are you've got the premium series ones, which are nice, um, for Ironhide and Blackout. And no, that's it. Just Ironhide and Blackout.
Mhm.
The evac repaint of Blackout is really nice. I do like an orange bot, as previously stated, but yeah, that's that. And there's a G1 colored repaint of Optimus Prime in First Strike Optimus Prime, which
Mm.
is quite a thing. Was that the same mold as the I can't remember if that's the same mold as the Voyager one the previous year. I think it is. I think it's the same mold again. And then there's another battle damaged version of that.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah. That is, yeah, a very disappointing series of Voyager classes, with the exception of Incinerator, who I've never actually experienced. Anywho, next, leader classes again. It's almost not worth mentioning. It's just repaints of the previous year's leader classes, two of which are premium series, um, two of which are the All Spark Power versions. Uh, Night Watch Optimus Prime is actually quite nice. I do have one of those, but it's a pointless repaint. The more interesting things on this page, I think, are the gift sets. They had some
Yeah,
interesting things going over them. So you had a Voyager class Megatron and one of the versions of Jazz, which were repainted quite nicely in the Battle over Mission City set. You had another one of those sets that has lots of figures with it. There's a couple of those, one of them which isn't shown. There was a Scorponok one with a bunch of the soldiers, and there was the Capture of Bumblebee set with Bumblebee and the main human characters. The final stand movie scene was pretty cool with the tow truck and the
yeah.
crushed up Bumblebee that was from the film, and the Bumblebee set that had three different versions of Bumblebee, the legacy of Bumblebee, as it were. And that's about that. I'm bored of talking about these now. You have anything to say about them?
Nope, not at
No.
all.
Okay, moving on. Ah, now this is
Now I
something
can talk.
exciting. Moff, would you like to talk about this?
Okay, yes, right. So I have long held the opinion that we need third party in the franchise. We need third party because there are has always been points where Hasbro don't do what the fans want, and that's just part and parcel. And it never would be that. Like there are certain, and I'll talk about a recent one that absolutely falls in that category. At this point, Ultra Magnuses, if you think back, even Masterpiece Ultra Magnus, the first bit was just White Prime. That is not Ultra Magnus. That is, I don't know what you want to call that, but that's just a kind of core bot. This is a point where we saw companies start to come around who were like, no, we agree, we are fans, and it's in the name. We've got fans project, fans toys, fans hobby. So many of them are fans who are like us and go, I wish they'd just done this right. And then they went, well, let's us do it. And that is exactly how a lot of third party companies came about, and a lot of how third party designers came about. And this was the kind of first big one that really was popular. As I say, there was the one for the Bruticus set as well. But there's others that take toys and make them better. This is this is the most interesting because it's not like a swap the head or a swap the hands, and there had been lots of that before this came out. This was an add-on kit that did what an Ultra Magnus would do. Like you've got in the original toy Ultra Magnus, you had the cab turned into the white robot, and then his trailer became his armor, and they created a trailer that became the armor, and this was an absolutely brilliantly delivered upgrade to that. And also, we talk about toys that were clearance. This set was clearance in Woolworths for ridiculously cheap, and then suddenly became so expensive to pick up
Oh, yeah, definitely.
because people wanted this. And I can't remember getting rid of mine, but I can't find it, and it actually saddens me because I'd love to have it just for that kind of almost history of third party. We've talked. One of the things I'm thinking of doing for TFN next year is having a kind of glass cabinet with some um, rarities from third party, from
Mm.
older generation third party stuff, and I'd love to have this in it, and I can't find it. I don't really want to go down the route of trying to buy it for that reason, but I think this, for prime time toys, obviously built massively on the foundation of third party toys and of toys. We are fans, us that are behind the scenes and third party fans, prime time toys are fans who have that bit of what do I want on my shelf, and
Yeah.
the most recent version of that Hasbro aren't going to do something, so actually third party should do it. Is that New Age are doing a studio series scaled Megatron that turns into a gun.
Yeah.
Hasbro are never going to do that, and I'm okay with that, and I
Hey.
understand it, and I get it. But I want a modern version of the G1 toy because that was G1 Megatron as a gun. I don't care that he's been so many things thereafter. That is irrelevant. It doesn't change the fact G1 Megatron is a gun. Like, yes, it just is. Do I think the mega tank Megatrons are good? Do I think that helicopter Megatrons that we've talked about are good?
Yeah.
I think Megatron is better as a tank. I do. But G1 Megatron is a gun. Like, so yes, it just is. You can't just because you now go, no, we made him a tank. So I can't have that. I so I think it's good to have the option to go, well, I'm okay with it that we will get a Studio Series Megatron. We will get a Studio Series Megatron that turns out a tank. That I'm okay with it, and I've made my peace with it. I think it's wrong that it should be called Studio Series because it's not screen accurate. But unless there's a deleted scene with him as a tank, which is what there is. But I get it, 100% get it, and you're not going to get them all. You're not going to get that kind of bit, and there are bits throughout history that Hasbro are not going to do stuff. So for third parties to go, well, listen, we are fans, we want that as well. We're going to give you that, and this was the first fans project, were the first company that really were popular in terms of they were delivering the stuff that we wanted. You know, they did these, and then they go into other stuff, and we'll talk about third party now more as we go through the years because there are some exceptional pieces that come out from third party through the years. You know, even looking back to the masterpiece jets, I gear take that mold and improve it and take away the scabbards that people hated on it. You know, there is a fine line between third party and KO. I get that people feel that way.
Yeah.
I also think that if Hasbro were to give us everything we want, third party wouldn't be needed.
No.
Hasbro are never going to give us everything they want. And they're a massive company that have got safety regulations, that have got safety checks and to go through, gun licensing, all the stuff that comes with being Hasbro. And we also need to remember Hasbro released toys for children. I understand that. Everybody that collects Transformers has to understand that. They don't.
They
Some of them
don't.
think, having seen pictures of people with the QC stuff going, it has this bit. I give that to my kid, they are never even noticing that because
No.
that's who they're aiming for. We have to remember that if you want higher end stuff, there are now official options for higher end stuff. There are now official options for somebody this kind of stuff that is collector aid.
Yeah.
But there will always be stuff that Hasbro or even Takara will not do. You know, and
Yeah.
what baffles me on that blurring the line is there are KOs of stuff out there that Hasbro or Hasbro Takara won't do as because the molds have gone, but the KO companies have managed to master it. That
Yeah.
just seems a bit crazy. So there are bits where it's like Hasbro Takara could do better,
Oh,
but
definitely, definitely.
third party is there is no other franchise that has this option of being able to get stuff that, if you're a Turtles collector, there's not really third party version of Turtles. There's official license options with Turtles. If you are, I'm looking at my massive collections of stuff and thinking, what else? He-Man,
Star
He-Man,
Wars.
it's not as a third party. Star Wars, it's not really that aspect. If you don't get it off Hasbro, you don't get it. We've got, like, I've got my third party Thunderhawk there because it might now been proven wrong. We never thought Hasbro would give us a mask, so companies started to go, "We'll give you that."
Yeah.
I, I think I think in this modern day, third party is a good thing. You don't have to collect it. I don't have to collect Legends. I don't have to collect some of the stuff that Hasbro produced. I think we should just be grateful that we have so much choice. But
Yeah.
this is just it doesn't it's not the best looking Ultra Magnus. It's not you're not gonna have this on your shelf over above Studio Series. But
No, but I was just going to say something about this. It's wonderfully stylized and it fits
yes,
with the classic aesthetic.
yes,
And the
yes.
classic aesthetic is very different from the rest of Chug. It
Yeah.
was just that one snapshot period of time where
Yeah.
you had these figures that were not quite G1 looking. The trucks all look different. The vehicles and the robot modes all look different, and they had different paint schemes. It's only when you got into Universe 2 that they started going, okay, well,
Yeah.
you just want to be like G1, so here you go. Here's a
Let's go.
G1
Yeah.
Starscream repaint. So this does fit with that aesthetic,
Yes, it
and
does.
as you say,
It
though,
does.
it totally kicked off something. It was the first proper add-on kit which was missing from Hasbro's lineup. Um, and it was more than just an add-on kit because
It was.
as you say, it's the whole kit and caboodle. But it kicked off something quite big, and there have been lots of other add-on sets, some of which are amazing, some of which are really, really terrible. But it was what started off the realization that things could be done and that you could get characters that you're missing or different versions of characters or the parts to make the combiners better,
Yes.
which
Yeah.
obviously happen. And as you say, Hasbro that they're quite constrained with what they put out, and they have to have gimmicks and everything else because in order to sell toys. So all of the Energon combiners, those stupid janky, stupid Energon weapon hand things,
Yeah.
they're ripe
Yes.
for
Yeah. Yeah.
third party to come along and make hands and make bits of armor and everything else. And they did, and it was amazing, and it's kept us
Yeah. And even
excited.
even now, Hasbro have got to keep to part counts and size, different things.
Yeah,
So some toys are restricted in what they're able to do because they have to keep their parts count, and they've been honest with that. Like,
yeah,
there's no hiding that.
no,
Third parties don't have to do it. They can go, well, yeah, it should be a £30 toy, but let's make it 35 and let's make it better. And they don't have to stick into that. So
no,
that's the beauty of third party. They can work on things. And
yeah,
if you've been a third party, if you've been involved in the third party scene as much as or as long as we have, you'll notice that there are things that happen to third party that influence the way the Hasbro have done their
yeah,
toys thereafter.
yeah.
So you can't say it's a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing for the franchise. I do think there's a if you just do the exact same toy that's on the shelf as Hasbro, I think that's a challenge.
Oh
And I
yeah,
know that
yeah.
people talk about that with like when the Unicron came out, for example, and then obviously the Zeta announced theirs. But nope, as far as I remember it, nobody knew that there was a Unicron toy coming. It wasn't like it was rumored. It dropped and everybody was like, shit, they're doing a Unicron toy. Zeta Toys didn't just go, well, we're here's a quick drawing, we're going to do it Unicron. They had theirs ready to go. So
Yeah,
they announced it because they were like, shit, if we don't do it now, we're fucked. And
yeah,
Fans Toys did the opposite. Fans Toys had announced Acoustic Wave, and then Hasbro came out and they just went, we're not far enough along in development. Let's just pause this. Let's come back to it. So actually, I think there is the yes, companies will announce things at the same time as others. By the way, Hasbro and other toy companies do the exact same. If they think that they are going to lose their market because somebody else announced it, they do the same. It's not that they're going, we've stole your idea. It's you need to try and capture that market. You need to give people the option. You need to really make people realize if you can't afford this 600 pound toy, there's a 300 point toy that actually might be better for you. So that
yeah.
there is an aspect to that. But third party is good for the franchise, in my opinion. And I look
I
forward to chatting through some of the really cool third party stuff. And there are yes, there are slavishly G1 third party stuff. There's also some really cool stylized stuff that
oh,
in the
amazing, yeah,
next, 2008 to now, what's that, 26 years, 16 years, sorry, 16 years. There's some stuff that comes out that is really cool. And we'll do a wee third party kind of highlight section because we're not going to do everything. We don't do
no,
everything
God no.
Japanese, so it'd be wrong to do everything third
Also,
party.
it's figuring out when things came out.
No, no, I know. And I think we'll do our best estimate of. And this never came out this year, I don't think. I've read mixed reviews because we looked at this and I went, oh, it's 2008. I've read other people saying, no, no, that was when it was meant to come out and it was delayed. I'm like, oh, there's no, it's not as easy to get the information. So
Yeah,
we apologize if we look at something and it's like, no, that definitely didn't come out that year. Don't
yeah.
worry about it.
It'll be
It'll be
yeah,
close.
yeah.
We're not going to talk
A
about,
rough
we're
estimate.
not going to talk about Fans Toys Devastator, in 2009 episode, obviously. But we'll be close. We'll be close to stuff. But I am looking forward to it. I think similar to what I've said with like how I feel about the Unicron stuff. I aren't really getting into Unicron stuff, but I've picked that up in the last 2 or 3 years that I've been really impressed with. I think there's third party stuff out there that people are like, nope, I will not buy third party. I will not, and I'm not a third party collector. And then they pick them up and go, actually, this is pretty
Yeah,
good.
that happened to me.
So I think as we go through this, we'll try and pick some highlights that almost are if you're going to try a third party from this year, try it.
Yeah,
This is one that I don't know how much this would be nowadays to pick up, but I'll be honest, if I can't find mine, I will be looking for it to make a decision whether I would like to have it on our stall as a history of third party take thing next year.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, it's not too bad at the moment, I don't think. But getting the Ultra Magnus is still a bit tricky, or a decent one anyway.
Mm.
But yeah, I completely agree with everything you say about third party. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful addition to the Transformers line. I don't think that it should be a replacement for the Transformers line.
Nope.
And, if you are, I'm happy for you. If you're somebody who only buys third-party stuff and won't touch Hasbro and Takara because evil corporations, that's fine. But at the end of the day, that informs that, and
Yeah.
you're not going to have that if that didn't
Yeah.
exist. So anyway,
No, and as the way I explain it to people, I think in my opinion, Hasbro will have always and will always produce the best transforming robots.
Mhm.
They produce the best toys that transform. They are fun. They are not generally overly complicated, and they are quite intuitive. Uh, Masterpiece then provides quite often the best looking alt mode or the best looking robot mode, depending on what it goes for. Um, then you've got like some of the third party kind of stuff is just like it's just cool. You've got
Mhm.
pure mad stylized stuff that doesn't really fit in either category, but it doesn't need to because it's good to have choices, and you've got mad, creepy, weird things out there that are just like,
Yeah,
why? Because why not?
exactly. Right. More on third party in the
Yes,
future.
looking forward to it.
Otherwise, we'll be talking about it forever. Bots of the year. Now, I think you're up first.
I am,
So, boosh.
and as I said, I easily and arguably should have put in a Bulkhead because he is generally one of my favorite toys of all time. And I did have the reactions of, oh my god, this is so cool. This was a toy that I passed up at first and went, oh my god, no, I don't want a wee Bumblebee like that. And then I was given one by my now wife, and I genuinely just the sheer joy in this toy, it cannot be expressed. For its size, for its money, there is nothing better than the activators. I absolutely love I love a gimmick. As I've moved on and through, when I remember with the G1 stuff, I fell away because I didn't like the gimmicks. I didn't like some of the stuff they were doing. I was like, no, this isn't what I want. I want Slavish 2, probably 1984, 85 stuff. This is the opposite. This makes me so happy that it's just a fun wee gimmick that just is just great. And again, look at that head sculpt. Like that's a
Yeah.
absolutely freaking outstanding Bumblebee. It's my favorite Bumblebee toy of the animated stuff because it's just fun, just bags of fun.
Yeah. And also, still at this point, we're still in the era where paint apps weren't being skimped on as much as they are today.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that it's only got a few different colors on it, but it has got paint apps in different places, and everything is in the right place,
yes,
and it all looks good. Nothing's just they haven't skimped out on the stripe
no,
because it costs an extra couple of quid,
yeah,
or to do a million of them,
no.
or
And I
or
think that
whatever else.
remember
Yeah.
back to when we did Beast Wars, right? So we
Mm.
did the first wave of Beast Wars, and oh, what was the class? What was the small class called? Not called.
S- Scout? No, they weren't called that.
No, but I can't remember
The
what they're called.
small class. The
Yeah,
small
the small
class.
class, and they had a similar kind of auto
Basics.
transforming gimmick. Basics, yes, I think they were basics.
Yeah.
So they had the similar auto kind of transforming gimmick, but they had the same bit of paint apps. I remember us talking about them, and the paint apps and the faces were just stunning.
Mm.
This for the size of the size of the
It's
toy and the
absolutely
money class, it has a really nice. You've got real detail through its face. Its face isn't massively detailed, so it's not as if
no.
it needs like loads of stuff on it. But actually, I you would almost be you wouldn't be shocked if a toilet this came and it was just a whole yellow face. That wouldn't really surprise you
Yeah,
because
no,
of the
not
size,
at all.
because of the price. But this just delivers it. Charm, fun, and again, like I can remember the feeling of getting it for the first time, and I think I always think that. I mean, I ended up with a couple of this mold and did repaints and fun things because I just thought this is great. It's a great
Yeah,
fun toy.
it really is. It is what I've had a version of it. I had the white one. It's
The
just a
police cab one.
fun, yeah, it's just a fun fun figure, and all of the activators I've played with have been great. As I said, the Prime one is pretty awesome. I was going to see if he was to hand, but he's too far
The
away.
only one I
Can't
haven't
bother.
had the activators is lockdown, and I always whenever I think about it, I go, oh, I need to get one, and I totally forget about it. But I might go looking after this. But yeah, I
Add
love this toy.
it to the list.
And
Right.
as again back to the this is a toy that has always been in my collection. Like there's loads of toys in boxes. This toy's never been in a box. It's always been on its on some form of display because it's just fun.
Right. My bot of the year is going to be a surprise and or not a surprise because I haven't said anything nice about any of the Optimus Primes this year. So it is, in fact, animated Grimlock.
Oh,
Because
oh,
just look at it.
he's just
It's
great.
just amazing. It looks enough like G1 Grimlock to be pleasing.
Yes.
That that alt mode, the massive lantern jawed head, it's just phenomenal.
Oh, what an
Um,
homage to the original toy. Like, oh,
yeah,
just it's beautiful. It's
yeah.
so well delivered.
I mean, it transforms almost identically to the original one. He just looks fantastic. He's so chunky in both modes. There's no there's no skimping over things in order to make it look better. Um, he's just lovely. He's just such a lovely figure. He's just so nice to hold and chunk at his jaw open. He's got a little switch on his neck that does the jaw movement, which is lovely. But he's also got the animated aesthetics, so everything's sort of slightly elongated in places and a bit kind of weird looking, but in a really good, fun,
Yeah.
enjoyable way. And his even his robot mode's got the big lantern jaw. Looks like a Warhammer 40,000 orc. He's got that kind
It
of
does.
jaw kind of thing going for it,
Yeah.
which I love. And his weapon is just this gigantic magma sword that press a button and more bits of flame come out, and it's
That's
just
so good.
phenomenal. I love that figure. I got my brother needed to get me something for Christmas, and we went to Toys R Us, and I said, "Buy me that." So he did. It might not actually have been this year that I got it. It might have been the following year, but such a lovely, lovely figure. And that
Great
is my
choice.
bot of the year. I really wish I still had it. And I don't because I'm an
Oh
idiot and sell
man.
everything. No, don't. Just stop it. I sold everything to concentrate just on Optimus Primes. And now the further we get into this, the more I'm regretting that decision. Maybe I'll sell the Primes. Um,
Yes.
no. Right. That about wraps up our long, laborious, and but very enjoyable look at the toys of 2008. Next week we move on to 2009, and because we do loads of research in advance, I have absolutely no clue what's out in 2009. So that'll be a nice surprise for everybody. Is it Revenge of the Fallen? No, it can't be, surely. Maybe it
Not
is.
remember. I
Well,
think
we'll
it
find
is.
out.
And
It
we'll get
might be.
the animated.
Yeah, we'll find out. Yeah, the last season of animated, so we'll get some more animated bots, and there'll be another series of Universe,
There'll be some
and that'll
repaint
be
toys.
exciting. And there'll be lots of repaints, and yeah, maybe it is Revenge of the Fallen.
I think it
We'll
is.
find out. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I have been Optimus Prime, and this
I've been printing off.
I'm Tom Moff. Yes, I don't know why I've done it that way because you're below me, and you'll be on the screen below me. Whatever. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please do like and subscribe and check out the Primetime Toys website if you want to have a look at some lovely third
Yeah,
party figures.
especially
And
for Lick
Lucan's
and Tease
Tees.
t-shirts. They have
Yeah,
Optimus and the
this isn't a
Soundwave.
paid promotion because it's ours. Well, I'm not getting paid. Um, but yeah, just so in case some YouTube are watching and saying, "Hey, that's paid promotion." It's not. It's not paid. Um, but yes, so please do like and subscribe. And if you're listening to us, make sure you subscribe to your listening channel of choice. And if you're watching us, make sure you tune in for the rest of the week, where there'll be many other videos, shorts. We're doing more shorts. They're good shorts. They're very enjoyable. I'm going to try and whack out a couple of reviews that were supposed to have been this week. All my setups are there ready to go, but I just haven't quite got around to it. Anyway, I'm waffling now, so I'm going to say goodbye. Bye.